I'm gonna knock the brains out of falsehood whenever I see it. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. I'm not entertaining this falsehood. Take it or leave it.
Not a show.
Wherever I see it. Now, I'm not gonna be patient with you. You lying on the prophet over you, Ali. Take it or leave it. I'm gonna knock the brains out of falsehood.
Come on, Taharka, man. Come on,
I didn't come at you like that, brother. I need to come at you like that.
All right, let's hey.
I'm very compelled to do this right now due to the simple fact I recently had a debate. In this debate, it was Kemetian Adept versus Brothers Taharka Bey. This debate was long coming, possibly about 3 years. I'll give you the little backdrop of the story. I met the brother here in Baltimore. The organization that he's a part of had some sort of convention or something like that. And out of curiosity, because I've read so much, I've met Pleasant Bey quite a few times in the past here in Baltimore, but I've never had the chance to really ask him the question that I wanted to ask him. And so, and then I was younger too. And so I was really on the learning level years ago when I had seen him in Baltimore. However, fully grown, they having a convention in Baltimore, and I wanted to know, why did you change the flag? What made you change the flag of the Moorish Science Temple of America that represents the Moorish Americans? And so I went down to their convention and I literally asked them, why did you change the flag? Because the flag that you fly is not the prophet's flag. And he looked at me matter-of-factly and said to me, the prophet came to him in a dream, Prophet Noble Ali came to him in a dream and told him to change the flag. That the Prophet Noble Ali came to him in a dream and told him to manifest the flag in which he flies now, and gave him the design and everything. And so once he said that to me, I knew all bets was off. Like, I understand studying history, and this is why history is so important. I understand studying history. This was the same thing that all people that have king ambition or want to usurp or take over without question, they always say things like, I had a vision, I had a dream, I got knocked on side the head, and now I see things, And so when you go in the past and you look at Constantine, he said he's seen the cross in the sky, and by this sign you should conquer. And then he gathered all the support of all the European Christians, and they went out on a rampage, killing everything. And the same thing happened with Saul turning into Paul. He was on a road to Damascus, and he see the Lord Jesus in the clouds and asking, why do you kick among the pricks, and all of these crazy things. And now, why are you prosecutest thou me? And so Saul repents and turned to Paul, and but it's the whole thing. If you can't beat them, join them with them. But they all had these visions. Then you got people that was working on cars, knocked upside the head, and all of these things in order to put themselves in a position of leadership, when in fact it's really unnecessary. But that's another story. So the same thing with Pleasant Bey. He says that he had this dream, and Prophet Noble Ali told him to also create what is now the Moorish American government. And now the Moorish American government is not really a government. Let's be clear. It's just an internet site. They have phone calls every week, and they talk all of these far outlandish things, which you're going to hear some of them in this debate. But nevertheless, after I talked to him about that in Baltimore, all bets was off. I got up on the, he actually was gracious and offered me to speak to, his congregation, if you will, or his membership, whatever, his citizens. And I got up there and I just said, I said, I disagree with you completely, but I don't have no beef with you. And that was the crux. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that was the crux of what I said during my speech. And it was all good. I left. And But ever since then, I guess me questioning him, it all started with a brother named Arthur. He was reaching out to me, trying to question the science in which I espouse. And then next followed up by Kemetian Adept. And over the years, you know, a post would come up, an attack would come up. I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride. And so the thing is, you know, I'm one that the thing is this. I don't mind debating. I actually love a good debate. But how is one to argue with evidence of historical proportions, direct sources, cross-reference sources, to someone that said they had a dream or someone that said they had a vision? You know, I'm saying Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this and you're doing this. He's saying, well, Prophet Noble Drew Ali came in my dream. And so I wasn't never interested in doing a debate with somebody like that. That just doesn't make sense. I'm going to be bringing evidence to qualify the standard which Prophet Noble Drew Ali set. And this guy is going to say, well, my leader, he had dreams. He seen Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the prophet told him. So I didn't want to really do that. Long story short, he got with Judah over the years finally. And Jeremiah Judah reached out to me, asked me to debate him. I told him the first time, I'm not interested. And that's the reason. I can't debate somebody who's going to tell fantasies. Long story short, Jeremiah Judah, he says, okay, if you don't want to debate him, why don't you come on a platform and tell us what the difference between what you believe and what they believe? And so I said, sure, okay, we can do that. So what I did was I put together this presentation. And in this presentation that I put together, it was a real gracious presentation. I wasn't taking no shots. I wasn't throwing anybody dirty laundry out, even though I feel as though that the dirty laundry need to be out there so people can know that it stinks. You know what I'm saying? And get out the way. You know what I mean? Or do something with it. Donate it. Get rid of the dirty laundry. Do something with it. No, don't even donate it. Just get rid of it. But nevertheless, I wasn't going to come that route. I wasn't going to go that route. What I was going to do was I was going to just lay it out, the differences between what they say is the prophet's teachings and what we say of the Moorish Science Temple of America, regardless of which body, is the prophet's teaching. And I was going to be gracious about it. But the moment that I went in on the link and I got into the room or the platform, I seen at least 8 or 9 or better squares. And in these squares, they were all Moorish American government members. So now I'm like, this guy really just put me in the lion's den. But let me tell you something. It's called the lion's den, and that's what he did. But I'm like, Daniel, man. Now, because I have so much information over the years, I scrap my humble presentation or my laid back presentation. And while he's introducing and they're talking, I'm digging up the raw presentation. Yeah. And I let it all out, you know, because now I understand that Kemetian Adept has played a role in trying to bring me into the circle of that group as if I was going to falter. I'm throwing everything but the kitchen sink intellectually. Knock the brains out of falsehood, you know. So after that, they wanted to recover. You got 9 people from there. They can't say anything. Only thing they talking about is unity. I'm just bringing facts. Facts after facts after facts after facts that they are in error, that they believe in fantasy, that they making up stories, that they making up all of these bogus claims. And I'm showing fact after fact after fact after fact at the end of the presentation. Now they want to talk about I'm perpetuating disunity. No. We're going to deal with facts when it comes to the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Long story short, at the end of that, about 4 weeks straight, at least twice or 3 times a week, Judah reached out to me. You ready to debate? You ready to debate? You want to debate? You want to debate? You want to debate? I said, okay, let's do the debate. So because my schedule is so busy, it's hard for me to really put together the pieces that need to be done to be effective, because when I debate somebody, I don't debate somebody to try to convert or try to turn somebody around to my way of thinking. When I debate somebody, I want to teach the people who's observing. I want to teach the spectator. I could care less about the guy who's making all these crazy claims. My objective is to teach the spectator. And so if I'm going to teach the spectator by the way of a debate, then I got to make sure that these lessons are right and exact, that people that are spectating can go back and look it up. And with that being said, that's what I did. I found the time to throw it together and I say, let's do it. So, but they was pressing hard. I'm running, I'm this and I'm that. Anyway, as you're about to see, I didn't take no prisoners. As you're about to see, you're gonna witness how crazy these people who claim to be Moorish Americans think. You're gonna witness why the Moorish Science Temple of America that Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught, and what these people teach, are totally different and in opposition. And let me say something. The problem with taking a debate like this is this is the problem with taking a debate like this. I know that Kemetian Adept has crossed the line from an intellectual debating to personal. And my thing is, when something gets personal, there's nothing to debate about intellectually. Like, we're not going to intellectualize ignorance. We're just not going to do it. If it's personal, as my man say, I forget the brother's name, but he say, if it's beef, let it cook. But we're not going to intellectualize that. And so we I be that more you gon' remember, be more. I be that more you gon' remember, that time. I be that more you gon' remember, Taharka Bey front line till the law call my number. I be that more you gon' remember, LA. I be that more you gon' remember, New York. I be that more you gon' remember, Taharka Bey front line till the law call my number. Who is following Prophet Noble Drew Ali?
All right, and we live right now.
That's now. Right.
You heard what the man said?
Each one of us have to prove either one of us is not and one of us is.
That's on brother. We live right now. We live. Welcome to the Lions Den. Right now, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got our hard hitting. We got a couple of heavyweights in the building that's finna get it in. Two more. You hear me? The brother Taharka Bey. We got the Swift Angel number 4, the Kemetian. They about to get it in. Y'all about to find out which one of these brothers is really serving the true practices of Noble Drew Ali. I hope I'm saying this right. You know what I'm saying? These brothers. Hey, go ahead, family, get it in.
First and foremost, I rise. I give praise to the great God of the universal law. I give honor to his prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to each and every one of you for entertaining as well as educating yourself on Moorish matters. Tonight, I give a special honor to the Moorish Science Temple of America, affectionately known and styled as the Noble Temples. And again, I give a special honor for those who will be listening in to be educated on the matter at hand, which is who follows Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And with that, I'm ready to rock.
All right. And last but not least, we got the Kemetian in the building. Go ahead, Aki. Swift Angel number 4.
Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, family.
Islam, I rise on a sacred 7, giving praises to the great God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish king once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. I give honors to all of my family here, Rahubat, to my Nuwabian family, Shalom, to my Israelite family, peace to the gods in earth. Salam alaikum, rahmatullah barakatuhu to the Muslims. Man, we can go on and on and on with it. It's all love, Ashe, Uhuru, all that and above. We on the manifest tonight to give our special portion, and hopefully our family can get a drawing. And I see a lot of my judges here. Most of them, we done had some clashing. But we're going to put this truth on the manifest.
As long as the truth going to come out, man.
We're going to put this truth on the manifest. I just got to put that out there on the manifest because I want to try my brother. I'm real. I'm a realist. So I got to try my brothers, not questioning their integrity. Just pay attention to this information that's getting put out here. You know what I'm saying? And so when it come out here on this measure, the only thing that's going to reign supreme is Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's what I have in mind. I ain't looking for no accolades or no trophies. I just got a mission that I got to deal with, and he been running for 2 years, and he finna get this work.
Well, it's about to go down in the den. You understand me? Hey, Kemetian, you can start as soon as the timekeeper say go.
Let me know when you want your time, family. You ready? All right. Go ahead, brother.
Your mic muted, fam. Everybody mute your mic except the speaker. Your mic muted. Your mic muted.
You hear me now, fam?
Yeah, we hear you now. Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, what I want to do in this first 15-minute round, I want to come forth and clarify some measures that the brother brought on the manifest, and I'm going to briefly go over them. But first and foremost, the topic, is basically, again, I want you to make the statement, Brother Judah. What is the topic for the audience to hear?
Yeah, the topic is who is following Noble Drew Ali's teaching? Which one is following correct?
Which one following the correct teachings? So I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start off with Taharka Bey, and I want to share my screen right now. Is the time running, or did you stop it yet?
You want me to stop your time, Mark?
Yeah, until I get a screen up. Stop his time.
Until I get my screen up.
Okay.
All right.
When he get it on his demonstration, then go ahead and start it up. All right. Can y'all see that?
I'll start your time back, brother.
Go ahead.
Of the grand body, as laid out by the prophet, then they will have to show that there's an unbroken succession of the prophet's grand body, as well as all minutes from 1928 to 2019. In the minutes I speak of, it would be convention minutes of every year to verify that you are the original Moorish Science Temple of America. You have to display charters with the prophet's signature on it. You will have to display original Qurans, original questionnaires, and everything that has been handed down by the prophet.
I want to stop there. I don't want to burn up too much time, family. But what he said here, he said he don't believe in any such thing as a supreme grand body. He was speaking on that. And in the portion of that, he was talking about people having original documents. So in order to be in conjunction with what the prophet taught and be right with the prophet, first and foremost, Noble Drew Ali is the one who gives charters out to temples. You know, any temple that came outside of the 15 that was established by the prophet were not, in fact, the original MST of A. You see, in fact, they were versions that came up later, and we have documentation that we're going to present throughout this debate, discussion, if you will. I like to use that terminology that will prove this. Now, if Taharka Bey is asking the MST of A for the prophet's signature on his charter, in order for his Moorish Science Temple, Noble Temple, to be in line, he too must show you the signature of the prophet on his charter. And he has the charter with him, so we're going to ask y'all to put it up, ask Taharka, when he comes forth to put that charter up here, that it is in line. If it is not the prophet's signature, then that is something that he has made up himself, and he is calling Moorish Science Temple, Noble Temple. Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't create that. In fact, the movement had been hijacked and remixed and went on 2-3 times. I challenged him with this argument years ago, and he took this same argument and tried to challenge the MST of A with it and break off and establish his own Moorish Science Temple, Noble Temples. You see? So where did he get the authority to establish a noble temples first and foremost? You see, because you got to prove that's in line with the prophet's teaching. Did the prophet mention noble temples? Yes, sir. If we're going to talk about which one is following it. Can you find that anywhere in his document? Now, moving on from that special point, Taharka doesn't have any original charter with the prophet's temple and his signature through that's governing his Moorish temple. So that right there is a strike against it. Right? Now, here is a document that we have. It deals with when the prophet was speaking to his organization. Because you got to remember, Moorish Science Temple is a lawfully chartered organization. It is not a government. The Moorish Science Temple is governed under the same laws that any other church, fraternal order, social club, and everything else is governed. And when I say it this way, I don't say that to slight what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought, because he knew what he was doing. But he brought it in that special state because he knew his people had to unfold into something greater. And we're going to get into that in a minute. This is Noble Drew Ali words. He said, to all governors, grand sheiks, and head officials of temples, by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali has said the following thing during this, our very first convention. He said, right here, the Moorish Science Temple of America was organized to play a useful and defined part in the advancement of the sacred obligation of American citizenship. We have no problem with that. He was trying to teach our people to be citizens in that special state, but he didn't intend for them to stay that way. See, that's what Taharka doesn't comprehend. He don't comprehend unfoldment into the supreme laws, whereas the prophet said, the general laws I have given to you, but the supreme laws will be passed down or handed down to you later. Now, he would say this is a convention meeting, you see, but we know better than this, because when we see the union of those who come together under these supreme laws, they bring forth a governing body. And I'm going to prove this in a minute. So the fulfillment age, we're dealing with the preparation going into the fulfillment age. The fulfillment age, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said in this same statement, he followed up by saying the Moorish Divine and National Movement was founded for the uniting of the Asiatic states of North America, May 1st, 1916. Both of these statements are part of one statement. I just put them in this way that you can see the difference between the two. Why the temple was founded and why his divine and national movement was founded. The movement has never been governed by the temple. The temple has always been under the umbrella of the Moorish divine and national movement. And if Taharka is honest, he will admit that. So the fulfillment age, coming out of that temple, you come into the government. That's why it's two doors. One that you come in and the other that you go out of. You see? So if this is the case, coming over here, and we pointed this out before, we gave the actual information dealing with our chairman. You know, you see his name right here, 1981 to the present, well, 1961, pardon self, to 1981. And then here in this particular portion, it's the same letter, but it goes more into it. I had to, hold up, that's in the way. Okay, in the same information here, you will see, and I can't read the whole thing because it's going to kill my time, but this here goes into the prophet states the law that a grand body, and the grand body is your board of directors, compiled by convening of all grand governors and sheiks, and all, well, say from all states and temples throughout the United States, right? Now, this was the structure under the Moorish Science Temple, because the chairman was part and parcel of that, you know, before he broke away to establish the government, right? So when you go into all of this information here, you see here that a charter was given to the chairman, Brother Elihu Pleasant Bey, whatever name you want to use, Akhenaten Tutankhamun Bey, Akhenaten Pert Imheru Tutankhamun Bey. You know, Brother G. Cook Bey, and I'm going to show you a picture of him and I Cook Bey in a minute. This was speaking of a time where, you know, Brother G. Cook Bey, who was actually made an adept during the time of the prophet, instructed our brother, the chairman, to defend this charter, and he was referring to charter to Temple number 13, which the chairman still have, the original Temple 13 charter, not the present day Temple number 13. So it says that they told him to stand on it as the prophet is standing on it. And if you see a charter, you'll notice Noble Drew Ali is standing in the center. It says this same brother, G. Cook Bey, sent by Noble Drew Ali to establish Temple number 13. They were the ones that Noble Drew Ali gave that charter to. So his signature was on this charter. It said, this is why this original Temple 13, we write the history so that basically all would know why Temple 13 holds such a great value in Maryland, which is in Baltimore. As in 1927, Temple number 13 by the prophet and grand body is the only chartered subordinate temple in Maryland. This is why all branch temples are united to Temple number 13. Future subordinate charters would come through this charter. So this is how much they respect that charter that the chairman still has in his possession to this day. This man here was the teacher, one of the teachers of the chairman, the Prince of Peace, Dr. R. German Bey. That's his wife right there, Sister Austin Bey, right? She just passed form. That's German Bey right there again. He was made an adept by Noble Drew Ali himself. This is Swift Angel number 1. See that date right there, 1974. He was in Baltimore in the mayor's chair with his babies, with his seeds. What was Taharka then? He was 14, 15 years old running around Baltimore, if he was that old. You see, this is the chairman here, out here with all of the people that were there. This is his works. I'm just showing the man works. This is the wife of the Prince of Peace here again. Notice this symbol right here, because it's going to be very important in a minute. You see the scimitar above the star. It's known as an adept jewel. That's the chairman right there, right? That's the Sister Austin Bey again that I told you passed form. Notice she has her jewel on here. Notice the sister here. I think that's Sister Graham Bey, if I ain't mistaken, with the scimitar and the star above her demonstration, right? Now, this is the sister before she passed form. The brother said that the brother was cast out of the MST of A. Taharka said that. And they was all in opposition to the chairman. But the chairman made our, actually, he made our first Grand Mufti in Adept, and it was these same Moors that he was there with demonstrating it. Taharka know who this brother is standing behind the chairman right here. He know who that brother right there is standing right there with the chairman in the Dismal Crips. You see? And that's the Sister Graham Bey right there with him again, right? This is, I'm showing you old reflections and new reflections. This is a new reflection since the chairman
2 minutes remaining, family. 2 minutes remaining.
Exactly. Got you, brother. Thank you. So right here, you see the brother standing behind the chairman, all out of Baltimore, respected Moors in the temple. You see the chairman here, right? He say the chairman was cast out. You see Brother Prather L. This is one of the brothers that Taharka has aligned himself with right now. Brother Jackson Bey. All these Moors, they love the chairman. Here they all are. Right here. This is recent. Okay, since we want to try to go into the background of a man and slandering him. You see, this man came from membership to citizenship in his own government. That was him as in the MST of A, and that's him as the chairman of the Moorish American government from the age of preparation into the age of fulfillment. You see, our brother Elijah Poole Bey said this. He said, we must have a government, a new ruler, a new teacher of that government. And since it is not patterned after the old order of the government of the world, as the God of truth and justice, righteousness, Allah is going to be the ruler or the creator of the new government. Then by no means can he carry any of the old world into his new kingdom of truth and justice, equality and peace. We must have a new government and a new people to operate the new government. And the chairman is the man that has the plan and that is demonstrating that, not as an organization, but he came to represent a government. And he can't do that under somebody else's flag. So he brought us our own flag that evolved out of what our prophet brought. So with that, that's my first portion I'm going to put out here. And then we'll see some more on here on the manifest in our other 15 and the other 15. So with that, I'm going to let him come forward. Islam.
All right. Woo! Brother came out smoking hot. You hear me? He said the chairman is loved by the people. He said truth, justice, and peace is the chairman's plan. That's what he said. He said the movement has been hijacked. That's what he said. He said if you ain't got no signature of the prophet on the charter, then something ain't right. That's what he said. He said the movement has been governed by the temple, and the grand body is the board and directors. And one more thing, I'm just taking notes. Dr. R. German Bey has made an adapt by Noble Drew Ali. And that the chairman is loved by everybody in the Moorish community. So don't be slandering his name. All right, boys getting heated in the den. I can't wait for Taharka Bey to enter the field. I know he got something to say about this. Let's get it in. Hey, Duquan, you let this brother know when he can get it in.
Time, brother.
Family, let's not get into the filibustering. Let's get into the facts of what we're talking about. Who's following Prophet Noble Drew Ali? He showed a clip of a video where I make a proclamation that in that video that he showed, and I'm not going to spend no time on it.
Wait, hold on, fam. You want me to start your time or you want to put your screen on first?
Is my screen up?
No, just you, just showing you.
No. I want a screen share off the top.
There you go. I got you. Go ahead, brother.
I want a screen share off the top. Let's not filibuster and let's understand that we are talking about who's following the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We're not talking about who smooched up with somebody, who in love with somebody, who is friends with somebody. Who's following the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali? Now, in that video that he showed, I'm making a proclamation at our temple that we own here in Baltimore. I'm proclaiming that nobody has original charters, nobody has original Qurans, nobody has original anything from Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and everyone has gone astray. Everyone has left the footprints of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and everyone that he named, I mean everyone he named, the Prince of Peace and all of that stuff he named. Guess what? They were under the same one that they call the one that hijacked the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the movement. The Prince of Peace got the charter from him. Who is this guy? This guy is C. Kirkman Bey. This is the same guy that usurped the movement that they're going to cry about. Now, Cook Bey, who was he under? The same one. When the Prophet passed for him, everybody jumped ship and ran with this guy right here. Everybody he named. Everybody he named. But now he's going to, and he will come back and say that this guy hijacked the movement, or this guy took over the movement, or whatever you want to say. But he failed to mention that every name that he mentioned was under this guy. When the Prophet passed for him physically, boom, everybody went with him. Most of them went with him. Guess what? So you ask about my authority. My authority doesn't come from anybody that was aligned with him. You talk about Pleasant Bey. Pleasant Bey comes from people that was aligned with the same people that tried to and possibly murdered Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Cook Bey, they jumped from Prophet Noble Drew Ali and joined him. Swift Angel jumped from Prophet Noble Drew Ali, joined him. And then they left him and started their own thing. Me? No. I was under Prophet Noble Drew Ali appointed Emeliel. His grandson gave me not only a charter, but gave me my credentials, the same one. So I got three people in line. I got Emeliel, his grandson. Oh, let me put it the other way around. His grandson, David Belial, who gave me my Adept credentials. I got Emeliel, and then it goes to the Prophet. Three people. What are you talking about? But now, let me tell you, my temple is not called Noble Temples. As you can see, this is a copy of three different charters. This one on the right side is Belial charter. This one right here is our charter. And this one on the left side is the charter of C. Kirkman Bey Group. And there's other charters out there. In fact, in the video, I'm saying that the temple has been destroyed and now we must rebuild it. And so it brings us to this conversation. Again, who is following the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali? It must be rebuilt because we got swindlers like this guy and his squad trying to act like that they need to build a government. But let me tell you what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali says. This is an article from Prophet Noble Drew Ali. In the idea and calculated and purpose of the Moorish Science Temple of America is to have everything that belongs to us as a nation that has become a part of another nation. In fact, Prophet Noble Drew Ali understands, because he's a prophet, that we are in a situation that we must operate within this nation just like every other nation do in order for us to get up out of this situation. Every nation on the face of the earth is birthed out of another nation, but there's a strategic plan in order to get the people up out of the oppression that they find themselves with. He thinks that plan is to put a government on a piece of paper. Nah. It comes from industrious acts. As Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, just same as other European groups are demanding. In other words, we have to work within this demonstration, and whether people agree with it or not, this is what happens in history. When a people are oppressed within an administration, they find their way up out of the administration in ways that is sometimes inconspicuous. So we ask, who is following the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali? I represent the Moorish Science Temple of America. That letterhead up there is the letterhead that I use. There is no letterhead that I use called Noble Temples. No, Noble Temples is a euphemism. It's a nickname, kind of, just so we can be separated from all the madness that's out there. But Prophet Noble Drew Ali, ask yourself a question. If Prophet Noble Drew Ali was here today, would he be a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America that he created, or would he be a part of the Moorish American government? Think about that for a minute. So every Friday, you know what I do every Friday? I do what Prophet Noble Drew Ali says in his laws. I have holy day meetings where the most prophetic laws that he has is the divine constitution and bylaws, okay? The divine constitution and bylaws. Now, what they did, these guys over there with Moorish American government, with Pleasant Bay, Swift Angel, Slick Angel, they took the divine constitution and bylaws and changed it. They call it the divine constitution of Moorish America. But notice this one on the left-hand side, it's the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, the divine constitution and bylaws. Let me tell you something. Prophet Noble Drew Ali also changed it. But guess what? He only changed the design. Right here is the original Holy Temple of Science, divine constitution and laws. That's what it was in 1925. Let me tell you something. When he changed it and the organization grew, it came into the Holy Temple of Moorish Holy Temple of Science, divine constitution and bylaws. And when they ended up, it became the Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to, both of y'all, I mean, you and your leader, y'all supposed to be God-fearing men. Do you know what divine means? Something divine means that it's futuristic, it's before its time, and it's from God, the universe itself. So this is the divine constitution and bylaws. So the question would be, what gives you the ability to change the constitution, the divine constitution and bylaws? Here is what you say in your constitution for Moorish America. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make laws and enforce laws. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali document says the Grand Sheikh and Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make laws and enforce laws. What gives you the authority to change something divine? That's a question that you must ask yourself. Now, what do I read every Friday and every Sunday? I read what Prophet Noble Drew Ali put together because he's the prophet, not Pleasant Bay. He's the prophet, and his prophecy is more prophetic than Pleasant Bay could ever be. Now, when you go down to his Act 4, he says no organization of Moorish America. In Act 4 of the divine constitution and bylaw, tell me if my screen don't change. In Act 4 and divine constitution and bylaws, listen what this says.
Yes,
all members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government. What government is Prophet Noble Drew Ali talking about? He couldn't be talking about no Moorish American government because it did not exist. Because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. What government is he talking about? Now, all of a sudden, in 1990 something, now Prophet Noble Drew Ali don't want us to obey the laws of the government, and nor are we part and parcel of the government. Now, all of a sudden, this guy said he has a dream, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali wants him to create a new government. You know what I'm saying? This is what the Europeans do when they usurp. But let me tell you how much the far the usurpers go. Now, even with the Moorish American player, pay attention to me, family, who's following the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Don't forget, every Friday we say this prayer right here. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, laws of my protector, my God, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet Drew Ali. That's an affirmation prayer that all Moorish Americans that say they follow Prophet Noble Drew Ali say. But Swift Angel, Slick Angel, he changes it up. He calls this the Adept Moorish American prayer. Look how he changed it. Oh Allah, the Father of the universe. Oh Allah, the Father of love. And then he slips a little bit and said, oh Allah, the Spirit of truth. Notice Prophet Noble Drew Ali is a prophet from God now. He said, Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. He throws in there the Spirit of truth. Oh Allah, the Spirit of peace. Oh Allah, the Spirit of freedom. Oh Allah. And then he goes all the way down. Oh Allah, through your holy prophet. Oh Allah, Drew Ali, amen. Holy Isa, holy Isa, holy Isa. Who give you the authority to change a divine prophet doctrine? I say what Prophet Noble Drew Ali says. Remember, we're asking who follows the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Now, when you're talking about signatures of charters, there's no one on the planet Earth that have a signature with a charter from Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So what we endeavor to do, like anybody with good common sense would do, they will pattern themselves out of the model that was successful. And the model that was successful is what Prophet Noble Noble Ali demonstrated. You and your leader, they want to change from what the prophet demonstrated. But now look how fugazi it gets. The Adept Moorish American prayer. But look at the membership Moorish American prayer. This is the Kemetian Adept Moorish American prayer. They didn't even change nothing. Oh Allah, the Father of the universe. Oh Allah. So what is the Adept? What is the difference between the Adept and the Kemetian Adept Moorish American prayer? Let me tell you something. It's the same exact thing with a different name. What is the point? The Adept, let me explain to y'all. An Adept is supposed to be one who is highly advanced in the science of Moorish science. So you tell me that the Adept Moorish American prayer and the Kemetian Adept Moorish American prayer, they're one and the same. Okay, let's accept that. But one thing they're not one and the same that the prophet wrote. It's been changed. Now, secondly, you've been around since the 70s with old Swift Angel, Slick Angel here. You've been around here since the 70s, and the best you can come up with your government is a phone call to call in from? That's what your government is? Is a call in? You for real? Where is your embassy? You know what I'm saying? Prophet Noble Ali. Let's look on the bottom of his doctrine now. Prophet Noble Ali, from day one, he was at 3229 Indiana Avenue. Let's look at the change of the addresses. When you go down to the change of the addresses, 1 second, real quick. Do I have it? Bam. Now that's ours. Let me go down real quick. Well, you know, the other constitution talk about 3940 Indiana Avenue. In other words, Prophet Noble Ali started in his house and he advanced all the way to his own buildings, organizations, and they utilized the building 3140 that they didn't own. And ultimately, when the takeover came, they had to get up out of there. But nevertheless, these people only have a phone number. Now, at the bottom of their divine constitution and bylaws, listen to what they say. They got the Moorish American prayer at the bottom of their divine constitution and whatever they call it. But listen what they said at the bottom. Prophet Noble Ali, peace be upon him. Now they Eastern Muslim. Prophet Noble Ali ain't never used poo. Now, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America.
You got 3 minutes, family. 3 minutes left.
How is that a lie? Prophet Noble Ali didn't find, frame, or no divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. Prophet Noble Ali established the divine constitution of the Moorish Science Temple of America and the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. You have usurped it. You have flipped it for your own selfish gain because you got kicked out of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Last but not least, in my 2 minutes, I'm going to bust your brains out. Prophet Noble Ali, Quran is on the left. The Quran that we make, and that's right, we duplicate it word for word by the prophet because paper is different today, and we utilize the same colors, the same scheme that Prophet Noble Ali put on there. Why? Because we don't want to change nothing. Look on to the left side. This is the Quran that they produced. The Holy Quran, the grand national symbol of Moorish America, as prophesied in ancient time. This book is 7 seals. Blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you what Prophet Noble Ali on the front of his Quran says. By the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of life back to his highest plane of life. Why would you take that off? Prophet Noble Ali is intentful that his Quran is to bring you back to the highest plane of life, back with your father God Allah, ultimately back in tune with the universe. But you would remove that. You know why you want to remove that? Because you have become the charlatan and you want people to follow you instead of Prophet Noble Ali. Everything that I just said in its first 15 minutes shows and proves that I follow Prophet Noble Ali. And this stuff that y'all following, you have remixed it. Puff Daddy. I'm done until the next 15. Let's get it.
Tom.
Man, this brother came out. Thing, family. Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready, Yak.
You ready to share your screen, Swift Angel number 4?
Yes, sir. I'm ready to share my screen right now. It's already shared. It's just already.
Okay. Just let us know when you're ready. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. 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 Yeah, I'm ready.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Can you
sir.
see the screen?
All right, brother, we're starting your time now.
Okay, go ahead. Now, picking up what his brother left off, he just regurgitated the same stuff he said in the last measure he set out when he did his dissertation. The brother put a bunch of pretty pictures up here, right? That's all good and well, but what he's still missing the point of, we both agree the Moorish Science Temple is a lawfully chartered organization. We both agree that Kemetian Bey hijacked the movement. I mentioned that myself. Problem is, the chairman didn't come up under Kemetian Bey himself. The chairman came into the movement under the Prince of Peace. And when the chairman seen that things wasn't as they should be, the chairman left the MST of A after years of dealing with them, after he challenged the grand body, and they slandered him, set him up. All of L, the informant, the police, his cousin, being in the prison. And since we want to talk about the chairman and say, oh, the chairman was out there demonstrating this, close your mic too, family. You feel me if you ain't speaking? So, you know, you want to go at the chairman and say the chairman did this, the chairman did that, and this and that, right? But there are Moors who on the manifest that didn't get incarcerated, that's still demonstrating that activity, and they are held up to the highest of heights. And the chairman was set up and lied on. And y'all know that they demonstrating that. And you honor them because I seen you at their temple. I ain't a rat, so I ain't gonna even go into that aspect of who these ones is, but you know what time it is, brother. Stop playing. You know? So now, I'm gonna go here. He spoke on Taharkabey and Kemetian, right? This how disrespect he is to the elders. I'm gonna let you hear what they said. They were made adepts by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The chairman was made an adept under the auspices of not only them, but the Prince of Peace, along with others. He took care of the prophet's wives. You see, he aided and assisted in putting the prophet's head somewhere it should have been when the Moors had it at the feet of the prophet. We're gonna get into that in a second. But listen to the Taharkabey brothers. You see, listen to this.
I was on the east side, my brother's on the south side. He had temper number 13, I had temper 22. So
you hear that? Now that confirmed the information that I said a few minutes ago. Brother Taharkabey is confirming what his brother Kemetian said. He said his brother had temple number 13, which is the charter that I showed you that they said that all temples were pretty much honor. You see, and that's the one that Kemetian told the chairman to stand on it like the prophet stood on it. Where was Taharkabey during this time? With snot round his nose somewhere on a tricycle. You see, he wasn't even on the manifest. And so he giving you all this history, but he ain't giving you documentation. I just gave you a video. I just gave you documents from the past showing you the chairman entering the movement in 1969. Were you even born then, Taharka? Huh? And then all the way up until 81. And then I showed you the chairman is still in good relations with his brothers in the temple. In fact, when it come down to dealing with the MST of A, he gave shots out to everybody he came in the midst of, right in the exhuming of a nation. The whole preface is almost 2-3 pages long, giving honors to the MST of A. He didn't come to destroy the Moorish Science Temple. He's letting you know that he grew beyond just being a member of an organization. And he came into being a citizen of his own nation. You want to stay up under the confines of the United States, then do that. We have our own flag. We have our own seal. We have our own grand national emblem. Accept it for what it is or let it alone. We didn't say that the flag of the Moorish American government is the flag of the MST of A. And nor do we teach that. So why are you concerned with the Moorish American flag of the government? This is the flag for all 60 million of our people. It goes beyond just an organization. The prophet said this. He said, I'm going to leave the European here long enough to teach the Moors how to run a government. Now, let me show you something. Since he want to get into pictures, right? We're going to start right here. I ain't going to give everything else up yet. This is Noble Drew Ali words. We're going to hit him with the prophet words. He said, the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are under all of one family, bearing one free national name. Do you bear the same free national name of the United States of America? Are you American in fact, or are you a Moorish American according to the teachings of the prophet? Is your one free national name Moorish American, or is it American? Because if you say we bear one free national name, then that means you saying that the United States, the Europeans are Moorish Americans too. So who was the prophet referring to when he said the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name? And those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government, their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to names and principles that delude to slavery. And our prophet Noble Drew Ali also said, Moors, if you ain't careful, your own brother will lead you back into slavery. He loves the United States. He loves sitting up under Old Glory, the stars and the stripes. We have our own flag. We have our own seal. We have our own emblems. And there's no organization that governs a nation. Nations are governed by governments under governmental principles and not the other way around. Governments allow organizations to be established and set up. That's why their charter is under a state dealing with Illinois. In other words, a state that's dealing with Cook County, where they filed this place at, in the state of Illinois, right? So if they filed it in that state, and this is a state charter. Now let's look at the Native Americans. They are supposed to be up under a federal charter, right? But what power do the Native Americans have? They still have to answer to the United States, which means that they are not a nation in fact. And in fact, anytime you are a religious corporation and you get caught up in the participating in politics, you can have your charter snatched. Anybody that run a church know this. Why you think that Farrakhan will go so far in speaking on political issues, but he won't go himself into talking about being a true government? Yeah, you talk about a symbolic government, a spiritual government. And when you talk about the time of governments being established, how long do you think it takes for nations to unfold? You think the United States unfolded overnight? You think the nation of Sudan came into being a nation? You think Liberia became a nation overnight? This is called transition periods, but you don't understand this because you love slavery. So, right? We go on a little further here, right? What else did the prophet say? A government more wisely prepared. And I, the prophet, do hereby believe that this administration of the government being more wisely prepared, more genuine citizens that believe in their free national constitution, laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. You see, this is Prophet Noble Drew Ali telling you about the United States government, but he telling our people about going back to their ways, their customs, their ideas. If that was already so under the United States organization dealing with the Moorish Science Temple, then the prophet wouldn't have told you the things that he's saying right now. But I see you have a problem, comprehending, my brother. That Asperger's syndrome is really getting to you over there. Yeah, I know about that too. A free national government, right? The citizens of all free national governments according to their national constitution. We want to emphasize that again, theirs, not anybody else's. Let me go on. Now, here's another measure. without a free national name, a decent flag of your fathers, there is no title of the government in which we live. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that. Where's your decent flag? It's not the flag of Morocco. Then it says, your fathers. Who are your fathers? Because in that constitution you talk about, in Act 6, Prophet Noble Drew Ali state that it was the ancient Moabites who are descendants of Africa. You see? And the Moabites are the ones who established the Moroccan Empire. So they're my children too. Let me go on. He said, it is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of the divine and national movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic, United States of America. He was talking about the United States, right? But then he said, that's why I'm calling on all true national citizens to help me morally and financially in my great work I am doing to help this national government, right? He said, for without a free national name with a descent flag of your forefathers, there is not a national divine title of the government in which we live. Now, if there was a descent flag of the Moors forefathers under the United States, then Prophet Noble Drew Ali wouldn't have mentioned without a free national name with a descent flag of your forefathers, because he would have already understood that the flags on the manifest belong to the Moors. This is from your true and divine prophet unto all American and foreign sympathizers, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Yeah, I'm going to let the prophet talk. I ain't going to do too much talking. Right? And you talk about the flag. This is from the Moorish Holy Quran too, family. I just put this information up there to show you in ancient Kemet. You see the stars here and you see the scimitar here. You know, Brother Tehuti is very familiar with what it's come from. So in other words, the symbol of the star and the scimitar being together goes way back beyond any fraternal order, beyond any organization. And this symbol, which was actually brought forth by our prophet, we're going to get into that in a little bit as well. This is what is stated. The sage Minxie stated, because we're talking about a flag of our forefathers, the wheel of time is turned once more. The race is on a high plane of thought. The garments that our fathers wore have given out. The cherubim have woven a celestial cloth and placed it in our hands, and we must make for men new garbs. That's Prophet Noble Drew Ali teaching. So what you see right here, this symbol here, this is the new garb that represent all 60 million of our people. Hate it or love it, it's on the manifest. This is the flag of the Moorish American government, not the Moorish Science Temple. Don't get it twisted. Okay, so as we go on, right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this, and the brother say, well, the brother, he talking about dreams and people. Well, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali say, I'm going to repeat myself. He didn't say he was going to repeat himself by being redundant. He meant that he was going to repeat himself along with the science of reincarnation. That's what he taught. We're not saying he reincarnated into the chairman, but we're saying that his spirit is on the manifest through the present grand body of the Moorish American government. Yeah, I said it. Now, if you look at this, you see the prophet here. You see the chairman here. The only difference is the chairman demonstrating government. You see who he has behind him right there? The prophet right there with him out front. He was defending the prophet when you was still dripping simulate from around your mouth, Taharka. You see? And then this is a famed picture he liked to put up here all the time to prove that Noble Drew Ali taught reincarnation. And if you reject this, then you reject Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali said, I was Muhammad, and Muhammad defeated the Roman Empire. When I conquered Rome, we went in with the sword. You can hear the sword swinging. I cut the head of Rome off, poured down the flags, sent letters to the other European nations and asked them, was I right? They said, yes, Muhammad, you are right. Just let us have a place to live. The Holy Prophet said, I went into Rome with 72,000 men. And when I ran out of men, I reached down and I picked up a handful of sand and threw it up in the air. And it went, when it came down, there were soldiers seated on camels. Now, am I telling you to go back into 2,000 years ago to that event? I'm telling you to look at that event in this new era in time. If the prophet said he was going to repeat himself, and that repeating has to do with reincarnation, his spirit coming forth to uplift and exhume his nation, then that would mean the prophet is the one that's conquering Rome today. That would mean the prophet is the one swinging that scimitar and that Moorish flag. That would mean that's the prophet who gave me this scimitar to behead Taharka Bey, as he called himself, on this demonstration. Or whatever you want, or Taharka Bey, you know. So we pulling down the flags that was used to enslave our people, because the Moroccans used that flag that they have to basically allow the European to take our people as human cargo. So you flying a flag of the oppressor and the slave master. You see? So the chairman sent letters in this new era in time. Those letters being that proclamation. He sent one to the Bush administration, not because he had to. He sent one to Obama and the Exhuming of a Nation, that 700-page book, not because he had to. He sent one to the Trump administration. You know why? Because he was letting them know that we are successionists. Judah know what a successionist is. Those who break away from one government to establish another. So ain't no secrets over here. We ain't hiding with what we demonstrate. So I'm showing you what this means to us in this new era in time. The prophet said he went in to Rome with 72,000 men, and when he ran out, he reached down and picked up that handful of sand, threw it up in the air, and when it came down, soldiers on the manifest. I'm one of them soldiers on the manifest in this new era in time. I'm on the front line. That 72,000 men represent a band of angels. I ain't taking you out there. I'm showing you materialization of it. You hear me speaking now, but you ain't adept, so you don't comprehend that. Finite minds can't comprehend the things that are infinite. And the prophet taught that. That's his words, not mine. I'm giving you all the prophet's word, Taharka. Now, to prove even further what I'm saying in regards to dealing with these measures, and I want to make it plain. Because if I don't make it plain, I ain't doing the people justice. Taharka Bey taught on the prophet Noble Ali's processes dealing with reincarnation as well. That's the brother y'all seen speaking in that video. He knew the prophet, stayed in the buildings with the prophet. He said he heard the holy prophet speak a parable. And he said, I remember when I was on the soul plane. And I remember when I was Noah. And Noah was a carpenter, and he built the ark. And when the flood came, swimming out of the ark, men came swimming out of the ark and knocked on the door and said, Noah, let us in. And I told them the door is locked. And the angel came and took the key away. What was he saying? Those who still want to be in an organization and stay in that state of just being an organization without truly unfolding into the supreme laws and becoming a true nation of Moorish Americans, they will be those who are locked out outside of that ark. That's what that parable represents. Notice he say, when I was Noah, this man was speaking nothing but spirit. Only an adept can understand that. That ain't spookism. All this has to do with telling you how he unfolded from an organization into a government through us. We teach that Noble Drew Ali still working from the plane of soul. He even said here by the brother G. Cook Bey, the other brother, the brother you seen in the video. Now these brothers who was put in the movement, see the date there, 1927, and was there until 1995. Those who are closer to a prophet are those who you listen to when you deal with hadiths. That's how the Arabs do it. Whoever was closest to them, then their chain of narration is sound. So Cook Bey was there with the prophet. So who is Taharka to come tell us other than what they said? He say, I said, the prophet said, while I'm talking to you, Moors, my spirit over in India is over in India with them. This is what he said. He said, and those sisters are jumping this high. And now when he was speaking of this, him being in the West and his spirit being in the East, that ain't spookism. He demonstrating a universal presence, saying he's...
Family, y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir.
It went out again, family. My bad.
Okay.
What's going on with the time?
What went out, my brother? What went out?
Quan, what went out?
No, go ahead, my brother. Go ahead. My screen had went.
Okay, y'all stop my time while he had stopped, right?
Yeah.
If not, just add me a few little seconds on there.
Go ahead, right there. I got you right now, brother. Go ahead.
Okay.
How much time you got left?
You got 7 minutes, brother.
Okay,
right,
okay. All is well. All is well. Okay.
I put the screen back up, family.
All right. Yes, sir. Well, yeah. So going back into that special measure, fam, as I was stating, Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught things that had to do with, you know, parable, symbolism, allegory, and all of that. You know what I mean? Now, here's one. He say he honored Emiliel, right? This brother was said to be the supreme grand sheik. He was ousted, he was betrayed, and everything else that we know under the sun. Nobody would deny that history. But if you honor Miliel and you talk about spookism, these are the words that Miliel, who you say you honor, this is what he stated in support of reincarnation. Not reincarceration, reincarnation. Brother Edward Miliel stated that the Holy Prophet said, I have my number, and my work of redeeming you people is finished, and I must go, or I can't return. And if I don't return, I can't deliver you. And if I don't deliver you, then my coming is in vain. So the prophet, according to Miliel, who was very close to the prophet, so his chain of narration must be sound, and he said that he was going to repeat himself. This is confirmation. He said that he was going to return. We don't expect him to physically return. We're saying he on the manifest right now, working through the Moorish American government, hate it or love it. So if that's the case, and you are a government, then where's your cabinet? Where is your leadership that is working and moving along the lines of an international level? The MST of A been here 100 years. And how many of our people have been uplifted? We don't say this to go against or bash the MST of A. I love the Moorish Science Temple of America established by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I'm saying that he didn't intend his work to just remain an organization. Do you comprehend that, Taharka? Can you comprehend that? And if you don't comprehend it, who gave you the authority to come behind and say, all right, they all wrong? The chairman said that before you. He said they was wrong before you, Taharka. And he came with government. The Constitution unfolded like it did because he was bringing what the prophet brought. He didn't change it. You see an unfoldment from just being a mere member into being a citizen in our Constitution. You seen, instead of being just MST of A, you became a government under our Constitution. Do you comprehend that? If not, do what you do. Because you ain't going to stop us from doing what we do. Now, I showed you everything I said is supported by the prophet's words. I gave y'all these Prophet Noble Drew Ali words that I'm reading to you people. I showed you a video from people that was living during the time of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, telling you that that charter from Temple number 13 was given to them with the prophet's signature on. I showed you in a document that that same charter was given to the chairman by the Cook Beys. And I showed you they told him to stand on it like the prophet stood on it. and boy, hasn't he stood on it. You talking about a man that took care of the wives of Prophet Noble Drew Ali when they were in their old age, when brothers had abandoned them sisters, Sister Pearl Drew Ali and Sister Christina Price Bey. The chairman was on the manifest. Where were you, Taharka? Somewhere on a tricycle. So
1 minute left, family. 1 minute left.
Gratitude. I'm almost done right here anyway. Now look at this. This is Prophet Noble Drew Ali grave versus Prophet Noble Drew Ali reincarnated. Now, this is John Gibbons' L grave. Why is his grave bigger than Prophet Noble Drew Ali? That right there let you know something. That ain't going at the reincarnation Moors. I'm just giving a draw and I'm showing you how far Moors have went off the path. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, look, what I have on now was handed to me by the government. It represents the royal prince. So when you see us dressed the way you see us dressed, they're going to meet the ill right there. That's the garb of the royal prince. It ain't got nothing to do with masonry, and it comes straight out of Kush, Nubia. Peace and love.
Tom, right on time, brother.
First of all,
Okay, go ahead. All right.
I'm ready. But first, I want to say something. I want you to know the difference between somebody's preaching and somebody's teaching. I want you to know the difference between something about evidence and something about somebody's crying. He's over there crying. He's not showing nothing. Again, Pleasant Bey, who he calls the head of the government, came under the brother that was in the leadership that came under Kirkman Bey. So no, he wasn't under Kirkman Bey because Kirkman Bey died in 59. But the next leadership that he was under Love L, is the leadership that he was under that line of leadership. So number one. Number two, when you keep bringing up Cook Bey, you failed to mention that Cook Bey went with Kirkman Bey also. That disqualifies him. Number three, stop acting like a Sunni. We don't follow hadith. We don't follow hearsay. We follow facts. You keep on repeating, Emilio said this. I don't hold no weight to somebody said something 100 years ago. I look at facts and empirical evidence. I don't want to hear somebody said he said this, somebody said that. Come on, bring the proof, as I'm going to do right now. See, this is a problem with you. You're so ill that your mind is so messed up that you fail to research the researcher. See, your leader gave you some faulty information, but I'm going to show you that I follow the prophet and you don't. You can talk all that government stuff that you want. Now check this out. First of all, when you look at on your website, this is what you was quoting. The citizens of all free national government, according to their free national constitution, are of one family bearing one free national name. This is where the citizens of Moorish America. Now stop. This says divine warning by the prophet. This is not the divine warning by the prophet. In fact, they changed it again. This is the divine warning by the prophet. Listen to the prophet's words. The citizens of all free national government, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national constitution of their government, their free national constitution, are classed as undesirable. Now, remember that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali wrote this in 1928. Where is the Moorish American Free National Government? Listen to me. He's going to explain it to you. And are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names, abuse, and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group to violate the national constitution laws of a free national government. What is he talking about? Whether you understand it or not, he's talking about the Constitution of the United States. Now let's look how you usurped it. This is what you did. This is what your leader remixed. Again, he stay remixing. He stay in the lab. Listen to what he say. Those who fail to recognize the free national, the name of their constitution are classed as undesirable and are subject to all inferior name abuses, mistreatment that the citizens care to bestow upon them. Since 1929, the body of Moorish people, whom that's not what the prophet wrote. That's not what the prophet wrote, but you got it tagged the divine warning by the prophet for the nations. This is the original that I had. I got the newspaper clipping, the periodical that it came out. If I need to pull it up, no problem. But what I'm telling you is that all you do, that's all y'all do. Y'all take something from the prophet and remix it. But now listen to what the prophet Obadiah Ali says. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and return back to the state of mind to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their rights as divine citizens. Divine citizens of what? This is 1928. This is not 1992. According to the free national constitution. What free national constitution is he talking about? Not the one that you remixed. That was prepared for all free national beings. We know the operative word was prepared, not the one that you prepared and remixed. They are to claim their own free national name and their religion. Their own free national name and religion. You don't know what that is. You're trying to remix one. There is but one issue for my people to be recognized by what? By this government. Remember again, this is 1928. By this government. Now look what they remixed. They took that out because they got an agenda. Now, I don't know if y'all can see it real good, but look, he says, those who fail to recognize the free national constitutional government are classed as undesirables, are subjected to inferior names, abuses, and mixed treatment that citizens care to bestow upon them. Remember, it said that right here. Abuse that citizens care to bestow upon them. Now, right after that, the remix come. Since 1929, the body of Moorish peoples, like their NBC equivalents, prophet never used this language, has not proclaimed their free national status according to their constitutional government. So what he's trying to inject is that their free national status, it lies within the free national constitutional government that they created in 1990. But the problem with that is that they saying that this is divine warning by the prophet for the nations. It's misleading. It's not the prophet Noble Drew Ali. It's not. It's the same usurp that happened in 29 is now it happened. This happened again in 90 dealing with this. Now, let's go to the next level. Now, this is the prophet Noble Drew Ali. He says, I am here calling on all true citizens that stand for free government, a national free government, to enforce the Constitution. What Constitution is he talking about? He's talking about the Constitution of the United States. Listen to what he says. Help me. You don't have to understand this, but be clear. He's not talking about you creating something. He's talking about a Trojan horse degree going on right now. Now, help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of government. What government is he talking about? He said, save you from falling from the constitutional laws of government. I'm depending on you to support me to get my people back into the constitutional fold again, implying that we were in it once before and now we're out. That they may learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, true peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our, the operative word, say it with me now, our, you don't have to understand it, our free national constitution of what? Of the United States. And in fact, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and I give it here for the first time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali is doing a divine Trojan horse degree that you don't understand because you are too lazy to pick up a book and work your mind to try to figure out why he's talking about supporting the free national constitution of the United States. You're too lazy to do that. But now let's move on from that. Now you clearly usurped that. Everything that I've showed is that I follow the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and you remixes it. Your leader remixes it. And if any judge is paying attention, I don't care about your crying. I don't care about who you say you know. I don't care who walked with who said this, who said that. I'm showing that everything that you stand on is a remix of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and I stand on what Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught. So you want to talk about the flag. Prophet Noble Drew Ali talks about the flag. He asks us, what kind of flag is the Moorish? And the answer to that, it is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. That doesn't, where you at? Hold up. That doesn't look like that. In fact, I screenshotted your own video and showing you the flag that Prophet Noble Drew Ali is flying. You called that a Moroccan flag. Well, guess what Prophet Noble Drew Ali called it in his questionnaire? He calls it a Moorish flag. Now, maybe the Moroccan state usurped, flipped, and remixed our flag and made it their own the same way that you did. You're doing the same thing that the slaveholders do. There you go. And now you calling this the Moorish flag, but that ain't what the prophet said. Now listen, here we go. This people are so pseudo. They so pseudo. They don't only believe in the spooky Casper the Friendly Ghost stuff that never come to manifest. They just believe in any old thing. This is the writing from his leader. If you were to resurface the white background by replacing it with the Moroccan flag, and then love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice above the similar. He said, listen to what he say. This is how we come up with this logic. If you were to resurface the white background, replacing it with the Moroccan flag, and then add love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice above the scimitar, and inscribe justice therein upon the convex, both being green letters, reflects unfoldment from the Moroccan to the Moorish flag. Hence the question and answer 101, 102, what kind of flag is the Moorish? It is a red flag. Did you see this weak remix? You see this weak remix? It doesn't even make sense. He's trying to explain how this means it's a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. When clearly Prophet Noble Drew Ali standing with the flag that he's referring to. This stuff is goofy. This stuff is goofy at best. Come on now. And I don't even want to get into calling people goofy, but come on now. Come on now. So what flag do I fly? I fly the Moorish flag that Prophet Noble Drew Ali calls the Moorish flag. And I'm going to give you something later from the prophet's mouth talking about the Moorish flag and from his newspaper that he published, that he honed, not hearsay. I'm going to give you something that he published and that he owned to prove that the Moorish flag was identified by Prophet Noble Ali as the Moorish flag and not the Moroccan flag. Now, and he goes on, what do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now, the reason why he does that is because the Moroccan flag is actually described as the 5-pointed star on the Moroccan flag supposedly represents the seal of Solomon, and the 5 points represent the 5 pillars of Islam. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali clearly makes a distinction in explaining the Moorish flag. But here are these weirdos. Listen to this. He said, it is also cancerous weakness fed for young Moorish Americans, which make them assume that the flag of Morocco is the Moorish flag. So you talk about Prophet Noble Drew Ali is cancerous? Because clearly in the picture that you posted, shows Prophet Noble Drew Ali with the flag that he's describing. Right there by the American flag. You say we want to be under the American flag? Man, talk to Prophet Noble Drew Ali about it because he's clearly flying it too. Oh, that's right. You had a dream and we're not supposed to do it no more. Okay, I got you. Now, with that
3 minutes, family, 3 minutes.
With that being said, listen, I want to read this to you again, just so you can understand. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, the citizens of all free national governments, all according to their constitution, are of one family bearing one free national name. That's not talking about Moorish American. Listen to what he says. When I get down here, he's going to tell you real quick, right here, to fail to answer the name, oh, this is theirs, like their NBC equivalents. Let me go back to mine real quick, because that's their pseudo part. That's their pseudo part. But now listen to what he says. He says, and this is the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's, what he was reading that was remixed. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, if the Italians, the Greeks, the English, and Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name, and religion before the constitutional government of the United States, it is no more than right that the law should be appointed upon all American citizens alike. He's talking about Moorish Americans. Then I ain't got time to read the whole thing to you, but you can see they leave out this part where Prophet Noble Drew Ali is clearly just saying one thing. You can stop my screen share. Prophet Noble Drew Ali is clearly saying one thing. He's saying that we are in this nation, and within this nation, there are multiple nationalities. And as everybody's trying to get their piece of the pie, then we must also get our piece of the pie as American citizens. Why as American citizens? Because you have invested in this by the way of your forefathers and your foreparents, and you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If someone is in your house, you find a way intellectually, politically, economically, or even if it comes to war, to get them out of your house. You don't try to go and build another house if somebody is clearly in your house. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this is your constitutional government. He says this is your government. Proclaim your nationality. And we are a part and partial of this said government. See, he's talking about a divine Trojan horse degree that you don't understand. You don't understand it. And everything that I showed, once again, judges, pay attention. He keep bringing up these old Moors. But all of these Moors that even live with the prophet gave them shelter when they came from down south. When the prophet passed form, they moved on with the same people that possibly had the prophet murdered. And they went under that leadership all the way up until they died. All of them. Cook Bey, his brother. And since you got that charter from 13 with the prophet's signature, I think you can win the debate if you can show it to us. I'm done. To the next round.
That time. It's about that time, y'all.
Now, Commission, it's your third and final round of the demonstration, Aki. I know you're ready.
Oh, yeah.
So when people say you go ahead and
let me know when you're ready, family.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen right now.
I'm going to take my notes. I've been taking good notes, man. Both of you guys have been bringing us. Boy, hey, I feel sorry for the judges. That's all I can say, man. Jeez. It's for the brothers. It's for everybody.
This is for brothers to study.
That's right.
For brothers to study. Now I want to show y'all how much of a liar.
All right, I'm gonna start your time
first and foremost.
Yeah,
go ahead, start it, brother. You ready? Okay, let me know when you started.
You shot.
Okay, I'm gonna start it now. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Yes, sir. So this is his statement right here. Listen to this.
Temple of America, styled and known as the Moorish Science Temple of America, Noble Temples.
He said wasn't no such thing as a noble temple, right? He said he didn't mention a noble temple, right? This is a lie, right?
For the expressed purpose to live out the creed and the principles as laid down by the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Now I'm going to show you how real I am, Taharka. If your intention is to build with like the prophet built and establish what the prophet established, I salute one for trying to demonstrate the right. I'm solid like that, right? But that charter behind you ain't got the prophet's signature on it. You say none of them do, so we already established that. So we know you can't trace yourself back to the proper Moorish Science Temple, which means that you are not connected to the prophet. You're doing a work that you feel you've been put on a mission to do. Guess what? It ain't for me to get in the way of what you're trying to do with the temple. So why do you feel it's your business to get in the way of what the government is demonstrating? Because we're not trying to stop the temple from being the temple. Do you know that the government was placed on the manifest to unite the Asiatic states? You got it in your mind that you want to be the one to do what's done, but can't nobody else do it but you. But the chairman been doing what you doing long before you came on the manifest. You don't respect your elders. I'm going to show you something, though. Watch this. I want y'all to hear this. Check him out. This is Mike Edwards right here.
David Bailey L, your teacher was wicked. A boy lover.
Turn it up, family.
God ass is really wicked. And Lord Albert has been wicked. But that's where the document came from. An official Moorish Science Temple of America document with charges that
I can't hear it, y'all.
Was a boy.
I'm going to drop the link in the box.
Yeah, because it's kind of low.
What the brother's saying is that he was given a document by Lord Blabber, Lord, as they call him, Shakeway Hell, that Taharka's mentor, Bailey L, is a pedophile. Taharka said, how did he get this information? The police is the only one that has access to this information. You see? So now, that's the video right there. Brother Mike Edwards has this document. So go to him for the document. But the key is, I'm not here to go at Bailey L, because Bailey L ain't never did nothing to me. But I'm just going to show you, as he tried to place things out there and showing opposition to the character of the chairman, the same thing can be demonstrated if one wanted to toward your grandbody, right? As a matter of fact, where were you when Bailey L was strong on? When people went up in his house and robbed him from paperwork at gunpoint? Where was you, Taharka? Since you so noble as a temple, was you defending him? Because if you wasn't on the manifest, then you ain't a stand-up guy like you say you are. If you've been in the movement as long as you say you have. And as far as getting into this demonstration in regards to dealing with dreams, from what I heard, Bailey L say he's seen you in a dream. And that's what made him appoint you as a grand sheep. Now, do you accept that coming from him? Being a dream? Huh? Because he said that now. Since you want to talk about dreams, right? Now, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this. This is his words. He said, if you dream of me, it's like seeing me for true, because the devil can't steal my appearance. Now, I believe that everything the prophet said is right and exact. I believe that everything the prophet stated, he meant it. And if my chairman seen the prophet in a dream form, that shouldn't be surprising to anybody. And if he put it in the chairman's dial plate to bring that flag on the manifest as he brought it to us, I don't see a problem with that. But your problem is you can't accept anything that's a problem to what you're trying to establish, because you feel like the government in your way. But I'm going to let you know this right here. The prophet said it like this. He said that it's a ball rolling down on Babylon, and anybody that get in the way will be grounded to powder. Now, I don't send that to you as a threat, because I don't demonstrate like that. I wish no harm to come to you. But know that the prophet said himself that he could better defend his movement from the plane of soul, which means that he's still working right now. So if he's working right now from the plane of soul, and I believe this, because if the ancient Kemetians can teach that the ancestors spoke to the people, then surely we can bear witness to that. If you demonstrate the Orishas, if that's what you stand on, then you demonstrate in that same degree. If you demonstrate Buddhism, Hinduism, or any high teaching of adept science, you know that you can go beyond this plane of manifest and demonstrate in the realm. That ain't something that's strange. Only a fool that don't meditate don't know that. But that's a whole nother measure, because I ain't here to take you through the chambers. I want to take you here because you spoke on the flag. Now, this is a Moroccan citizen, and I hope y'all can hear it. I don't know why it's not giving me a loud, because I got it at 100%. I'm going to try to play it, and if y'all can't hear it, I'll send this to your inbox as well.
All right.
Okay.
I totally got your point. I totally agree with you in this part. But But as we know, I mean, historically,
We hear
Morocco is one of the oldest countries in the world, and for sure you guys know that. And at the same time, maybe the flag. This is the confusing part. Choosing the flag as, I would say, the logo very much of the Moorish people. Choosing specifically this flag as, I would say, it as a new flag of the Moroccan side. That's not really that old flag. It's not like hundreds of years before. I mean, it's only in the last century. So, and you're claiming that the Moorish people or the Moorish culture existed even way before that. Yeah. So why choosing this flag specifically?
Okay, he asking them, and y'all can go see the rest of the video itself. He asking Morocco, the Moroccan brother is asking Taharka, why are you choosing our flag? Now I can pull up a whole bunch of more videos and show you the Moroccans over and over telling you they're not Moorish. You know, and I have no problem with that. Problem is with Taharka, what he doesn't understand, and I want y'all to look this up. It's called vexillology. Vexillology is the study of the lineage of flags. Every flag has a lineage. Now, as a matter of fact, since I'm speaking on it, I'm going to go there. In here, right? The Moroccan flag has not always been the way that you see it. That flag you see right there, that's a flag of Morocco. This is a flag of Morocco with the checkerboard pattern on it. That's a flag of Morocco, hold up, right here, under the French protectorate with the green canton space here. This is actually the first symbol ever put in a Moroccan flag under the Al Mawahidun, Al Moravid dynasties and so forth and so on. These seen often as scissors, but it's really a scimitar. You know, it's not scissors as one has stated. Here's a better depiction of it. Right here, these are cross scimitars, right? So the scimitar was the first symbol ever added to a flag of Morocco. Here's another symbol of it, right? They have a whole bunch of different expressions of them, right? But there was a flag also that came forth under the Idrisid dynasty, which was before that, and it was a white flag. You see, in the Idrisid dynasty, let me type this in. It was a white banner. So the first banner of Morocco was white. The first symbol to ever be added to a Moroccan flag was a scimitar. And a star came later in the lineage. So when you see the star in the lineage and you see what's going on, you see I'm going to show it to you right here. If you pay attention to the flags of Morocco and Saudi Arabia, the places that we teach Noble Drew Ali went. This was passed down to us from the elders, but there's other information that I show you that I will say most definitely support this. Right here, you see the scimitar in the flag of Saudi Arabia and the star in the Moroccan flag. So if there's a lineage coming from the Moroccan flag being a white banner, changing colors and coming all the way up to having a scimitar in it, when you see the flag that we have as a Moorish flag, our flag unfolded as you see it through the government. It ain't here to conflict with what y'all got going on in the temple. I'm making it plain for you, right? So if this is the case, when you come back to looking at what's on the manifest, and I got another drawing right here that I most definitely want to bring on the manifest, because you got to see this one right here. This is coming from one of Taharka's teachers, not the symbol itself. This is from the brother R. Edwards L. If you want to know about the history of the MST of A, he wrote a book on it. That's who he said was one of his first teachers. Now look at the symbol that R. Edwards L. put on the front of his book. This is the adept jewel. This is a clear picture of it. The scimitar and the star. What does Kemetian Bey come in at? He changed the background blue. You see? That's the difference between it. You see the star is closed here. But when you look at the symbols as we have brought them forth in this new era in time, coming forth from what the prophet brought, you see that the star is open, right? Now watch this. Because he went to our website, and I want to go back to something else that he spoke on. And the chairman, by the way, didn't bring that forth. I'm the one that broke that down. So you gave misinformation there. So when we come over here to where he took you all, right? Notice it say, many ask from whence came this flag, this Moorish flag. The first answer lies in the question from whence came the Moorish adept charm, as seen below. And so what I was showing this one.
2 minutes, family.
Symbol, huh?
You got 2 minutes left, Art.
Already? That's 15 minutes that quick?
Yeah, time flying, family.
Yeah, time flying. When you start your screen, I put you on.
Okay, all is well. So better yet, anyway, this is it right here. This symbol right here was first. Then this was the remix under Kemetian Bey. So when you look at the unfoldment, we're showing you that it was our ancestors who gave them the star. They took the star, and we took the prophet symbol. And you see the prophet symbol became what's known as the Moorish flag. The prophet said this. He made this statement: I'm going to leave a European here long enough to teach you how to run a government. He didn't say, I'm going to leave you here long enough to teach you how to run the United States government, Taharka. So if he didn't say that, then you understand that the prophet meant Moor's government. That's a picture sent to me from the elders with the prophet in Egypt, 1902, 1912. I don't question it. I respect it. It was given to me. This is the prophet as the Egyptian adept, 1902 to 1912. That's 10 years. It's a census record that bear witness to him being out of the country. That's his name, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. El Hajj, his journey, his pilgrimage, Sharif being noble, Abdul being a servant of humanity, and Ali being an exalted one. You can't deny that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was either one of them. And he also said, I was given a high name over there in the east. So that lets you know he's saying that he was over there. If he was given a high name over there, I accept what the prophet said. And if those close to him that were adept said that he said it, the prophet said it. Now, from that aspect, you have the burden of proof of proving that you're following the prophet. Because I don't deny that the MSTLA was established by the prophet. But if he said that he was going to lead a European here long enough, we the government.
All right, man. Man, these guys right here bringing out some good information.
Thank you. So I want everybody, I want the judges to notice that he didn't bring any sources. All he's doing is showing these little things. What I'm doing is I'm comparing to what they say and to what the prophets say. He's not bringing any sources. He's saying that the prophet said, but he's saying the prophet said this, and it's got little lines up there, you know, like he can, oh, the prophet came from Mars, and it said it right here. Like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Bring out your sources. So when you talk about, and then you put up a video talking about Edwards L., one of my first teachers. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. I don't know where you're getting your information from. Secondly, what else you said? You said something about, you put in the Moroccan. Of course, the Moroccan is going to try to say that his flag is his flag. He's supposed to do that. Who wouldn't do that? But when we look at what the prophet said, remember, the argument is who followed the prophet Noble Drew Ali. What did the prophet call the flag? Now, in this document right here, this is coming out of the parade from the temple. what you call the first annual convention. Listen to what it says, family. Moorish Americans in their Moroccan costumes. Listen, judges. Moorish Americans in their Moroccan costumes, each carrying the flag of the nation of their forefathers, which is the Moorish flag. This comes from Prophet Noble Drew Ali's own hand. Okay? He calls the flag a Moorish flag. But listen to now, let's use our brain. Does the prophet know the difference between a Moorish flag and a Moroccan flag? Of course he does. Look at the first line. Moorish Americans in their Moroccan costumes. He could have easily said Moroccan flag, but he didn't. He chose not to. He said, each carrying the flag of their forefathers, which is the Moorish flag and the American flag on there right now. Why would the Prophet Noble Drew Ali be carrying American flag and a Moorish flag, not a Moroccan flag? Pay attention to the language. Emiliel, in one of his letters that he wrote, he says that if you understand language, you would be all right. But obviously, you don't understand language. So let me teach you a little something. When you look at flags, right? First, you got to understand that this is not a Moorish flag. All right? These over here on the right, those are not Moorish flags either. Why? Because you talked about vexology. Remember you talked about vexology? Well, let's see what the creator of the flag says. He says, now, from the 17th century on, when Morocco was ruled by the Alahite dynasty, the flags of the country was plain red. In 1915, during the reign of Moulay Youssef, the green interlaced pentagonal was added to the national flag. But where did it originate from? While Morocco was under French and Spanish control, the red flag with the seal in the center remained in use, but only inland. Now, that don't mean nothing. Don't worry about that, judges. But listen to this. When independence was restored in 1955, it once again became the national flag. In 1955, Prophet Noble Drew Ali began to teach in 1913. Now, how did the creator of the Moroccan flag describe it? Listen to him. This is the vexology. You can go to Vexolopedia, flagofmorocco.com, and it will tell you the creator of the Moroccan flag. Listen to what it says. The flag of Morocco is made of a red field with a black bordered green pentagram, representing the seal of Solomon. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said the Moorish flag within the 5 points represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now, that might be, people might say, oh, that's just a little difference, da-da-da. But listen, we're asking who follows the prophet. You don't have to agree with the prophet. You have to say to yourself, man, did this brother show that Prophet Noble Drew Ali showed some sort of uniqueness in his understanding from the Moorish flag to the Moroccan flag? So when they begin to call the Moorish flag the Moroccan flag, all they doing is supporting the Arab. That's why they say things like, oh Allah, or the Hadith said, oh Allah, all of those stuff. They might as well start saying Allah, Rahman, and all that old dumb stuff, because they're not bringing no proof. What I'm telling you is the Prophet Noble Drew Ali says the Moorish flag is the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center, and the 5 points represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The creator of the Moroccan flag said the flag of Morocco is a red field with a black bordered green pentagram, and they're representing the seal of Solomon. The red is considerable historic significance in Morocco. And also it goes down and it talks about that it represents the 5 pillars of Islam. But let me move on real quick. Now they're talking about this is an adapt charm. He don't have a clue what an adapt charm is. You can try to remix it and chop it up all you want. What you see right here is the fairs of C. Kirkman Bey, the one that I know and he knows, and he would agree that usurped the prophet movement. And you can see what he has on his head. He has Sultan. He has the scimitar, he has the saw, and he has a law. Let me tell you something. The only thing that changed, they wore these chains during the time of the prophet because they was trying to create two Moorish signs, Temple of America. But I'm only here to bring proof tonight. This, what you see on the left side, is a remix of what you see on the right side. They are good at remixing. They remix the prophet, they remix the killer, they remix the crook, they remix everybody. Listen, look at the fez. The prophet didn't wear no fez like that. The prophet didn't wear no fez. Now, last but not least, this is David Baliel. He's going to put up a Mike Edwards. Everybody know Mike Edwards is nutty as 13 fruitcakes. And then he's going to tell you to go and get the paper from Michael Edwards of David Baliel being a pedophile. Well, let me tell you something. I researched anything that anybody said about the guy who made me an adept. And guess what? You got to come better than that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? You got to come better. Bring the paper that you should have called Michael Edwards. You would win the debate. But now, the guy on the right is Emiliel. That's Baliel's grandfather, presides over the prophet's tours. He was put in position by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And not only was he put in position by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, his grandson is one of the only ones in this day and time that remain faithful to his understanding of what the movement's supposed to be. The only reason I'm not with Brother David Baliel today from an administrative perspective, because I don't buy the genealogy line wasn't broke. I believe that we have to build it from the blueprint that the prophet gave us. Now, you ask me, take all my credentials from David Baliel, the grandson, from the one that the prophet appointed. All of my credentials. I even asked them, and I actually started the Noble Temples when I was with him. And I asked him, did he want me to send them back? He said, no, we'll talk about it. No. So let me tell you something. My authority is solidified by the way of seeing a problem and correcting it. And tonight I correct you. You have done nothing according to the prophet Noble Drew Ali but usurp. If you want to create a government, create a government. But don't say the prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke to you in a dream. That's how the European did with Constantinople. Constantinople said, I see a cross in the sky. By this shall we conquer. That's how Paul did when he was walking up Damascus. Oh, why don't you kick upon the pricks? He's seen somebody in the sky. That's how y'all usurp, so y'all can't be checked by the doctrine. Once we bring the doctrine out, you ain't got nothing coming. Now, let me go before he called me now. Why would, if the prophet Noble Drew Ali want to create a government outside of the government, which is ours, why would he put in his paper, we can elect one congressman? In the course of national events, now comes the time for election of a congressman from the 1st Congressional District. Never before in history of the nation has so much attention been focused on one small parcel of this country. Why did he want to elect a congressman? Because when you get a congressman in place, what happens is you control the congressional district. When you control the congressional district, you control the money. Because the money is for the citizens alone. If the prophet Noble Drew Ali wasn't trying to, as I was telling you, be a part and parcel of this government, why would he be registering 3,000 Muslims? 3,000 Muslims? Wouldn't that be enough to start his own little country or his own little government? As you try to talk about, he was registering 3,000 Muslims of the Grand Temple and the West Side Temple, or making ready to register every man, woman. They was doing a political takeover. Now, and you're talking about a religious corporation? You ever heard of a corporate takeover? No, you're too slow for that. But anyway, let's talk about it. Alderman Lewis B. Anderson. That's right. He was an alderman. Honorable Judge W. Blackwell. He was a judge. Y'all crying about unfair sentences? Get a judge in place. Get a judge in place. Honorable Oscar DePriest. You want to get some money? Get the congressional district. Honorable Robert H. Jackson. All working through the regular Republican organization, of which the Honorable Daniel M. Jackson is our matchless leader, and all who knows, who and all all knows the whole situation and have their way and time to give the order to go. The Muslims will be ready. We're talking about a political takeover here. You know why? Because if you take over a little area, you know what you can do? You can do a Vatican City the same way Vatican did in Rome. But you know what? You're too busy shuffling paperwork and trying to get finger cuts and making these fancy little remixes online, and you don't know nothing about that. If you can take over a district, here you go. The Vatican City is the world's smallest nation. Also called a city-state. And guess how the Vatican was started? It was just a little parcel of land. You see Prophet Noble Ali talk about that little parcel of land? See, you don't know nothing about politics. That's why you're talking crazy. Why would Prophet Noble Ali promote politics the way he did? Huh? Elect Charles Erdell Turpin, Alderman. This is why they tell you voting don't count, because they know that even right now, the big debate is about what? The votes. Why? Because votings do count if the accountability is in place. And guess what? In these little inner city pockets, we supposed to run them. We supposed to handle the purse, the money. We supposed to handle the land. We supposed to handle the resources in the ground. You know what? But you don't understand that. You rather get paper cuts. But Prophet Noble Ali understand it. This is why in his paper, he always promoted that. Let me say this last but not least. Prophet Noble Ali says, we of the Moorish Science Temple of America, not the Moorish American government, like countless other, the operative word, other American citizens, which means we are American citizens, know that we must live together. We must live together here in America in harmony, friendship, and goodwill, whatever our race may be. Moorish America, whatever our race or creed may be. It is only from a purely religious standpoint at this time that we differ than a large number of our fellow Americans. You see what I'm talking about? You know nothing about the divine Trojan horse. I mean, you've been duped. You've been played by a usurper. We believe in and we foster the Muslim religion. We believe in the principle of his teaching that so far it can be adopted into what life? Say it with me now. American life. We're talking about a divine Trojan horse you know nothing about. We feel that the Christian religion is all right for those who prefer it. In America, the religious freedom is guaranteed all under the Constitution. Notice I'm asking who follow the Prophet Noble Ali. I teach this every week. I live this every day. My family live this every day. Let me see. Under what Constitution? What is it guaranteed? In America, religious freedom is guaranteed all under the Constitution. But we are interested in Prophet Noble Ali. Talk to him. Since he said Prophet Noble Ali here, I second that notion. We are interested in freeing ourselves and our children from our greatest plight. Economic slavery. Why? Because if you get that bread, you know what Claude Anderson say about them politicians. We are interested in freeing ourselves and our children from our greatest plight. Shoveling paperwork. Talking about we got a phone call to talk about our government. No, economic slavery. We believe this can be best encouraged by encouraging, patronizing, and establishing our own business enterprises, not just a business, not just selling socks, not just selling t-shirts, business enterprises, and cultivating our own acres of land. Shout out to my wife for looking for them acres of land for the Moorish Science Temple of America. We welcome into our folds men and women of our group of all sections.
1 minute, family.
All trades, occupations, and professions of sound mind and good character. You clearly don't have sound mind because you have gotten off the path that the Prophet Noble Ali laid. You clearly don't have sound mind. You clearly don't, but it's okay. You know what I mean? Go on with your little Moorish government, but know for sure you claim that this guy hijacked, infiltrated the Moorish Science Temple of America, but you walking around with the same thing you got on his head and you calling it Adept. You sound crazy. One.
Time, y'all.
All right, man. Boy. I feel sorry for the judges tonight. These guys. To the next judge. Come on, we got to roll. I'm going to go to Truth Ministries. Let's go.
All right, bro. The way I see it, I was expecting both of y'all to really talk about what he was actually teaching, not a whole bunch about the government stuff. I'm talking about how he was teaching about love, truth, justice, and righteousness. You know what I mean? I was hoping y'all was gonna come at each other like that. Who was actually walking the path. So it wasn't a whole lot of that going on. So I have to go on who presented the best defense, because neither one of y'all actually proved that you are actually following better than the other. But y'all kept on going at each other to where as though y'all pretty much was going at each other, trying to knock each other down, trying to prove who wasn't following more than proving you were following. You know what I mean? If y'all can follow. So I have to judge off of that. You see what I'm saying? So based on round one, let's pull up my notes. Round one, I believe Taharka Bey proved that they changed the Constitution, that it was some changes made to it. Whether they were good or bad, that's not me to call. That's not what debate is about. But they did definitely make some changes. And he kept on going in. It was also some stuff that they used that was actually came from Kemet. You know what I mean? That he also proved in round one. Well, he demonstrated in round one. So I got to give round one to Taharka. In round two, he pretty much did the same thing. And round two, I noticed that the Kemetian pretty much was being defensive. You see what I'm saying? Instead of being aggressive. You know what I mean? He was trying to defend himself from the last round. So I got to give round two to Taharka also. Now, I'm just end this just like this, all right? I got a little brief demonstration on how we're going to call this. You see this glass of water, right? It's a pure glass of water, crystal clear. Now, if I take this and pour it in here, right? Is that still water? No, it's something else. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, if you take Dr. Drew Ali's teachings, which was pure, you see what I'm saying, and you add something to it, you can no longer say that you are following his teaching because you have made it your own. So I have to give the debate to Taharkabey because I think he proved that the best.
That's true.
All right. Now we're going to go to Anu Shabazz. It is 1-0 to Taharkabey with one draw and 1-0 to Taharkabey. Go ahead, Anu. Put your camera on, family.
All right, fellas. Yeah. All right, so yeah, from the stuff that I was hearing on both ends, I didn't hear a dispute on the claim that was made that 15 temples was all that was established by Noble Drew Ali, and it predated the Moorish Science Temple of America movement. I didn't hear the other brother rebuttal that. I know the Kemetian claim that. And one thing I did.
What do you mean, other brother? You got to give us some names, man.
Yeah, what's his name? Brother Todd.
Taharkabey.
Yeah, I just called him Brother Todd. Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So Brother Todd, I didn't hear him dismiss that claim that it was only 15 temples. Dealing with the first round, I did notice that both of them were mentioning operating as non-governmental operators, but they both kept mentioning government. So I wanted to know, what made, whether the government or the organization or purpose, whether Brother Todd was saying organization or whether Brother Kemet was saying government, they both were operating as if they were doing business with the United States government. And whether it's partial business or full business, I didn't see a claim on that from either one of them to separate that. And two more claims. 1916 was the uniting of Asiatic states. What is this? Something about 1916 supposed to be uniting of the Asiatic states. Oh, in the United States. All right. So according to Noble Drew Ali, he made the claim in 1916 that we were considered citizens. Now, I don't see in Noble Drew Ali's teachings where any of you brothers proved that we were citizens. I did hear that in Kemetian's teachings that we were not citizens, and we were trying to establish our own citizenship. And I didn't really hear the brother Todd rebuttal that. So in relationship to the first round basis, was they were the succession of Noble Drew Ali, not the successors. And that can be anybody. That can be my cousin down the street can pick up the Circle 7 and get inspired. So that's, it's levels to that. The word succession. So far as the teachings of Kemetian, he operated from a succession point. Brother Todd, he operates from a succession point, but he's not speaking as if he's doing that. He's speaking as if, even though he doesn't have a charter, even though he doesn't have a signature of Noble Drew Ali directly, outside of the grandson of a sheik, I don't see where he's using the word succession. He's approaching it from a successor standpoint. So on both ends, Noble Drew Ali's teachings is just the Circle 7. Like Black Jesus said, they kind of went outside of that, got into the bylaws, got into the political part of it, but his divine instructions was the Circle 7. And the first thing mentioned in there is, where we at? First thing mentioned in there is to teach love instead of hate. See, I ain't even got there yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was about. And it was teaching about time never was when man was not, and how we're dealing with the relationship of Allah and man. And so even though I noticed that the Kemetian brother, his adept had innovated some of the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, I didn't see him contradict them at all. So even though the innovation was clearly pointed out by Brother Ta, I still see a succession point being clearer on Kemetian's side. So far as for the debate, I would say Kemetian's group, because both of them have their own splinter group. Both of them have their own group. One uses the word government, the other one uses the word organization, but they both have a group that are just forms of inspired movements. And so which one is more honest at this point was the one that did not curse the name of Allah. I heard Brother Ta, this is where you lost your point with me, when you said the El Rahman and the El Raham, and when you start mentioning the names of Allah and called it bullshit mumbo jumbo, that's where you lost me. Because we coming in the name of Islam, and you wearing that fez representing Islam, and you kind of made fun of a name or attribute of Allah. And we don't ain't nowhere in the teachings of Noble Drew Ali is that honor. So that's it would have been just like the brother Black Jesus said. I don't have an opinion on it until I heard you say that. So now I know that Kemetian protects Islam a little more than you, and what he showed proves his point from you losing that point with me.
So who you vote for?
Yeah, Kemetian. I just clearly said Brother Ty was kind of making fun of the names of Allah.
All right. 1-1. 1-1 and one draw. We finna go to Daquan Yashada line. Let's get it in, what you see?
Hey, shalom, family. Okay, now I analyze this from two different angles, because the first brother said it, Black Jesus said it, and the other brother True said it correctly. It was more of a basically of them, kind of like knocking each other out with, basically trying to debunk each other versus really getting to the basic topic at hand, which I was actually trying to get edified to see, who is teaching false doctrine and who's teaching truth. So even Truth, the brother Truth even says something that was actually something that stuck out. Taharka Bey showed that he didn't deal with anything watered down with adding to. He just deals directly with the original. And I think that's what mainly sticks out. And then, I don't know, man. I just feel like, when you guys deal with these broad topics, man, y'all don't realize how y'all shoot yourself in the foot, because just like the last debate we did, you guys don't really focus on just showing how, beautiful these brothers was into the so-called Black movement to really get the information out to the people the way we need to hear it. You know what I mean? Like knock each other's flags and, different things that y'all was doing. I mean, that's really not showing how great these brothers was as far as a community. So with my vote from analyzing, first I was going to give it a draw. But when I thought about the purity of just the presentation alone of what was added and what was taken away, I had to give it to Taharkabey, because Taharkabey hasn't added anything to what Drew Ali added, teached or taught. So I mean, that's my vote, family.
Mute your mic, JJ.
No, I'm sorry. Last but not least, we got Dewan Africanite. It's 2-1 to Taharka Bey. Go ahead, Dewan.
All right. Yeah, this was a really good debate. Brother Taharka, man, Bey, he's a very good debater, man. He pretty much was tearing Kemetian up. He pretty much rebutted most of everything Kemetian brought. He was also showing that from the prayers to the flag that Brother Kemetian and that they're adding in and changing things, taking things out. Yeah, it seems like Brother Taharka, he just pretty much he's keeping it pure. Whatever Noble Drew Ali says, he's sticking with it. That's straight law. So he not adding, he not taking away anything. So my vote goes to Brother Taharka. Shalom.
Congratulations, Taharka Bey.
Can I say
hold on, brother. Congratulations.
Can I say something,
and Kemetian, I thought you did an excellent job yourself. I'm gonna let him say a few words before we leave, and then I'm gonna let Taharka close it out. Go ahead, family. Kemetian, go ahead. Unmute your mic.
Sir, this is what I want to say to all our family here, right? You know, that's on the panel. I see that most of our family didn't understand the topic that we was discussing. Again, it had nothing to do with the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You know, we were here to show who was following Noble Drew Ali, you see? And the whole measure had to do with unfoldment, which we admitted that the Prophet established the MST of A. That's something that we don't deny. What we're saying is the Prophet himself, all them statements you see me quoting, came from Noble Drew Ali, not me, in regards to dealing with government. You see what I'm saying? So he spoke on a government coming on the manifest, and if that was the case, then the temple in the state it was not the government. Taharka didn't answer those questions. The judges didn't consider that. As you stated, Brother Judah, that is very key. You know, that in and of itself, and then he didn't even want to ask me any questions, you know? And so the main measure, as far as dealing with the teachings of the Prophet, what we teach in the Moorish American government, the beauty of it is that we dealing with being a successionist people. We don't deal with demarcation and division. I don't see Taharka as my enemy. I never attacked Taharka. Taharka attacked the Grand National Chairman. And I think the chairman might be on here, you know, that he can defend himself if he is. But my main measure is to the brother is if you in the temple and you're doing what the temple say, because contrary to the panel, Taharka is not following exactly what the Prophet taught. He's going to correct what he feel is in error. You see, and those outside of that wouldn't understand that. The chairman had already did that outside of Taharka. And that was the basis of what I was saying. Was that in accordance with what Noble Drew Ali taught? The chairman coming behind the prophet, fulfilling the prophecy, bringing in what we call the unfoldment out of a mere organization into a government, not subject to the United States government. And when I talk about the Uniting of the Asiatic States, that's the Moorish Divine and National Movement. That's where all of us come together. And that's not just the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's us in the Nuwabians. That's us in the NOI. That's us in the MST of A. That's us in all these different organizations. They, to us, are a part of the uniting of the Asiatic states. Now, after all this discussion, because this is what it boiled down to, Taharka, regardless of whatever position you take, I don't see it as a win or a loss. But if you are not doing the work to unite the Moors, then, brother, that's outside of the fold of what the prophet taught. Now, the olive branch is being extended to you, you see, to demonstrate and bring your Moorish noble temple under the Moorish American government. Because it's going to be here whether you like it or not. You see what I'm saying? And that's all basically I have to say, but it's all love to the MST of A. You know, again, the title was not, is our teachings correct according to the Circle 7? Because I even brought Circle 7 teachings out there. It is, are we following the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali? And if he said he was going to leave the European here long enough to teach the Moors how to run a government, somebody had to fulfill what the prophet had in mind. And the Moorish American government is the only one doing that. You can't do that as an organization. I don't care what you call yourself. You see, that's what my point was, just to bring clarity.
All right.
But salute to the panel.
Peace, family. All right. Let's go ahead and let Taharka say a few words, and I'd like Kemetian Bey to get in once Taharka Bey get done. Go ahead, family.
Let me say this. We forget that the debate is who follows Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I agree with Kemetian Adept on that. It's not who follows the Quran of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Prophet Noble Drew Ali's lessons are extensive. They just don't start and stop with the Quran. They got the divine constitution and bylaw. It has the questionnaire. My job in this debate was to show that there has been so much remixes that there's no way that they can follow the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And for the brother that had the messed up notes, with all due respect, brother, you said some stuff that wasn't even mentioned in the debate, but then you say I disrespect the law by using a language, a euphemism, if you will, with a language. Let me tell you something. Disrespecting the law, changing a divine prophet prayer, and you think me saying Allah is egregious? But somebody changes a divine prophet prayer, and that's okay? Somebody changes a divine prophet doctrine, the divine constitution and bylaws, and that's okay? But you got a problem with me imitating Arabic? You can't be serious, but I guess you are. But that's fine. To my brother Kemetian, I will never unite with those who practice things under a lie. I will never. I will be friends with you to the best of my ability. But if you follow a lie according to the standard, not that I say, and let me say this, I'm going to take one more minute. The reason why I was pointing out the flag is because there's a principle behind what the prophet put together. The divine constitution and bylaws, the symbols. The whole structure gives you the ability to function within the divine movement. Remove the structure, there is no more divine. You can't take something that is divine that haven't even been around 200 years and say, okay, now it's time to unfold it because I had a dream. No. And all due respect to this platform, brother,
in my observation of the
Jeremiah
debate,
Judah, with all due
was
respect,
clear.
brother, I wasn't
Who
going to ask
follows
him any
Noble
questions so we
Drawley's,
can argue for the next 20 minutes.
teachings.
I just
And
wasn't
I
going
think
to do
I think it was actually pretty clear. I mean, Kemetian had a good presentation, but Taharka just came in and clearly showed direct sources from Noble Drawley. Kemetian was talking about people who had dreams and saw Noble Drawley in the soul state. Taharka clearly said every Friday he does prayer. He showed where Noble Drawley said on Friday do the prayers. He showed clearly where this man named Swift Angel changed it. It was kind of really clear. The topic was who follows Noble Drawley. He said that Cook followed Kirkman Bey. He said stop quoting people and just bring the facts. We failed to research the researchers. He just showed where Noble Drawley said vote for congressmen to get political power in your city, and that they do that. It was just kind of I mean, it's just really clear. I don't, whether I agree with the Moors or not, whether I agree with Kemetian or whether I agree with Taharka, it was just pretty clear that one person is showing they follow Noble Drew Ali, and the other person is saying, well, we're changing it to keep up to date with the times, which I have no problem with, but the topic was who follows the actual man's teachings, and that was Taharka. Do you have the right to change it? That's up to opinion. So it was a very good debate compared to the last one.
I be that more you gon' remember. Nap town. I be that more you gon' remember. Taharka Bey front line till the law call my number. I be that more you gon' remember. LA. I be that more you gon' remember. New York. I be that more you gon' remember. Taharka Bey front line till the law call my number.
Brothers and sisters running around here. We have brothers and sisters running around here talking about Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ar-Rahman, Rahman, all that stuff. But guess what they do? They take all that stuff, they bow their head onto a carpet, or whether they do it or whether they don't. But guess what? Many of them go back and do the nonsense. When you see the character of somebody that's trying to use terminologies associated with the universal creator Allah, but yet they take something and they remix it and they twisted it and they act all as if they're not doing anything wrong, and then it's okay when they start using the Arabic language. Family, let's stop being so spooky. Allah is Arabic for God, okay? A-L means the, L-A-H means God. That's simple. Like we they make fun of the attributes of Allah. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We get too spooky. Let's deal with the fact of the matter. It's just Arabic. It's a language. And people play with it every day. What I'm saying is, we have a prophet born here in the state of North Carolina, 1886, speaking clear English, and yet we want to learn everything else besides what he laid down. But that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. Listen, one thing for sure, two things for certain. Allah don't need your help to defend himself, itself, herself. You know what I'm saying? Allah don't need your help. You need Allah's help. So focus on that. You know what I'm saying? But family, I appreciate y'all. This was a good debate. We got an echo. Oh. We still got an echo? Do we have an echo? Do we have an echo? Let me think. Do we have an echo? Let me see. Make sure we ain't got no echo. Okay, my bad. I made a mistake and cut the speaker off. But anyway, family, the thing is that, you know, this is a serious debate. And if you can go back to the beginning and look at it, you would know that this is 3 years in standing. I wasn't going to debate this guy. Like, how do you debate somebody like that? I mean, that make my stock go down. You know what I mean? My value go down debating somebody like that. You know what I mean? That doesn't even make sense. I should be debating somebody like a Sharif Bey or somebody at this point. You know what I mean? A Tuna Kael, a Wesley Muhammad. You know what I mean? These beautiful brothers that really got research. But debating somebody like this takes my stock. Now, I'm not saying that we need to be debating because many of us agree on a lot of things, and many of us, you know what I mean, have outgrown that. But this guy has been pushing this for the last 3 years, family. But family, listen. I appreciate y'all. Tomorrow, family, I want y'all to know, family, tomorrow, I hope y'all be here tomorrow, family. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. You know what we got, right? We got the Jive Turkey Awards, family. Y'all, some of y'all still making that turkey. I know y'all still making that turkey, but if you still making that turkey, family, come on over to the Jive Turkey Awards, family. It's going to be nice. You know what I mean? It's going to be nice. And guess who made it? Kemetian Adept. He made the poster. But it's the 3rd annual. We've been doing it for 3 years. It's a fun time. And we're going to award those who've been acting like them jive turkeys. I'm telling you, this is going to be wonderful tomorrow night. I can't wait, fam. I cannot wait. I got a beautiful show coming for you. Please don't remember to hit the chat. Hit the what they pass around the church, the pan. Don't forget to hit the pan around the door. Tip your waiters, family. I appreciate y'all, and we gonna be back here tomorrow. I know y'all going to be eating that bird tomorrow. Some of y'all still eat that bird, even if you're Moorish American. You got family that make that bird. Go on over there, eat that bird if you want to. You know what I'm saying? I don't eat no bird, personally, me. But if that's where you at, you know what I'm saying? Take your time with developing into your greater self. You know what I mean? I'm over that bird. I've been over that bird. I ain't even going nobody house. Me and my wife gonna sit here and eat a salad or something. You know what I mean? That's right, family. I appreciate y'all, and I see y'all next go around. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, family. Always support the channel, hitting that Cash App if you're able to, because we are building on this side. And don't forget, family, next week we are going to be talking about this building and investment program that we're putting together here on Moorish World TV with the Moorish World TV audience. And again, I appreciate y'all, family, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, family. Tomorrow night is going to be fire. Appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow night on Moorish World TV. Islam, peace and love, and all that other good stuff. Let me get up out of here. How do we get out?